Good afternoon. I'm Steve Crofts from Telic Services. Thanks for joining us. It's more than the last presentation. Hopefully you all haven't got tired feet and that's why you turned up. Today I'll be talking about IoT platforms, what Telic's doing in the environment of platforms, and why you should deploy with us. First issue, of course, is speed and agility. It's all about time to market. Remember, don't try and write everything yourself. Focus on the bits you're good at, not every single part that makes up IoT. This is really the key thing within IoT at the moment. Too many people are trying to do too much of the puzzle. Within it, there's lots of different IoT out there, and probably over 75% of the IoT deployments fail. We deal with a lot of customers, a lot of people are doing IoT, and a lot of the projects we work with fail because of either money, deployment, or strategy. But they do, in the end up having to be completely redone, or the companies fail. It's not about the tech. So really, we don't enter into, at the beginning, you need Bluetooth 3.0 integrated within LoRa, and then a BLE device at the end product with a LoRa gateway. Ignore the tech, focus on what you're trying to do with the technology. This is always the first starting point, we think, with IoT. Do not try and focus on what technology am I going to deploy, and then how am I going to get the data in, and what am I going to do with it. Focus on what you want to get from the end, and then how are you going to get it from the end. Because we've got 2G, 3G, 4G, NB-IoT coming, M1, LoRa, Sigfox, BLE, 868, 433, and all the other technology. A bit about Telic. So we're a global company, over 1,000 people now. 1,070, it's actually 1,200 more like at the moment. Located all over the world. So we have key development centers around the world, 5 R&D centers, and some of the key module manufacturers we recently purchased would be Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. And then we also have the ILS division, the platform part, based out of Boca Raton. So I look after the services part for the UK, of the platform and the connectivity. So enabling the Internet of Things, you really need to look at the product, the services in the middle, and then the consulting. How are you actually going to deploy it? We're focusing really on what is it you want to do at the end, the consulting. If you just phone us up and say, I want a 2G module, I want it from the cheapest price. That's not really being a consultant, bringing value to your company, introducing you to what you want. It's purely price. So we focus on being a consultant, providing market information and extra details of what you're looking for, not just the cheapest 2G module on the market. Some of the industries that we're in: automotive, smart energy, smart factory 4.0. So we are a true factory 4.0 company. And then also agriculture, smart cities, security and surveillance, healthcare, and smart buildings. So it's really, we are agnostically across a lot of the IoT space as Telic. Now a little bit of the technical diagrams about what we're trying to do. We all love the techie bit. On the left-hand side, these are all of the things speaking into the platform. There's several different ways that we do it. Is either from a device through MQTT, cloud-ready devices, asset gateways with a client running on it, so then you've got Workbench running on the edge devices. So if you wanted to create a LoRa hotspot in here, you'd use an asset gateway, bond all the different devices to it, and then stream it into the platform. A proxy, so if you've got existing products out there, and then also low-power wire products as well can integrate directly in there. We're managing the connectivity and then bringing the data into the cloud or an on-prem solution. So the joy of this thing is it can be cloud-based, on-prem, or you can actually run your own complete server global system. So all 3 options are available. Coming out the other side, we push it to a dashboard. Now a dashboard is just that. HTTP out to the websites, out to the Android apps, and a full finished solution. So most of our customers would be focused on the bit at the end which is in the customer's house, so the smart products, the tracking device, the camera, or the other end, which is the Android app or the way of which the customer interfaces into the product. They shouldn't be focused on where are you putting the data, how is it running, how do I push a software update, how do I manage anything. That's the bit that we focus on. So as I said at the beginning, don't try and reinvent everything yourself. Try and buy in the parts that make sense and focus on the 2 bits that you're trying to do. At the end, we're then fully integrated into several of the enterprise gateways like SAP, IBM, and this is really to push the data out. So think about a lot of companies are bringing data in from the edge. We then live in the middle, aggregate all the data from home smart metering systems, vehicle tracking devices, alarm panels, LoRa gateways, hand dryers, people counters, all of this, single platform, and then we push it out into the SAP, Oracle, the correct bit of data. You don't end up with 16 different platforms receiving the data from all your different devices and then trying to push it into one data analytics. We live in the middle of that lot, trying to aggregate all the data in. Now, the other thing was I thought I'd focus a bit more on actually how to do Factory 4.0. This is where you have a true asset gateway in the factory. You program the edge device, so a single workbench to program the edge device and then consume the data in. So when I mean a workbench, it's drag and drop. If anybody's ever programmed in VB, squares, triangles, circles, obviously nobody's ever programmed in VB, no nodding of heads. Very easy to program, and then if you have an asset gateway from Multitech, Dell, Cisco, lots of different manufacturers of the asset gateway, it's a single point of programming. And then we agnostic the edge device. This is key in platforms. Don't try and integrate every single type of product at the edge into a bespoke platform. This is where a software engineer will spend years trying to program. That's what we've already done. Some of our partners are listed there, and then we push the data and control the end devices. Another part of Telic, so this is quite interesting as well if you've got any machines that you need to control. So we control, I think it's 90% of the world's fab machines, the things that cost over $1 billion each that are making all the semiconductors. And what we're doing is really bringing in the data from all the machines and then pushing it out to the correct parties. If you think of Mitsubishi and Apple and Qualcomm manufacturing all of the die and all the chipset, what they want to do is get the data from those devices and then deliver the data to the correct person. We're delivering a fully secure platform that's running on bespoke servers globally, and you can open a laptop any in the world, speak into our servers, and then either take control of the end machine, do a full screen share, and then manage all of the photo update to the end machine. So if you think of somebody like Premier Foods or some of the large manufacturers of machines, you need to know who's done what to what machine. And it's the same platform. I'm not talking about a different one. It's just that this one lives in our boutique servers. So these are Telic-owned servers. All we've done is we've taken that and put it in AWS or a cloud. It's trying to make so there's one platform to manage all of the different things going into SAP and Oracle. So these are some of the machines that we'd be communicating to, doing all the photo updates, doing all of the control, seeing the real-time diagnostics of that device. How it would work, now that's another techie slide, isn't it? We can get very techie if you like as Telic. But really, we can speak to the machine or the tool at the end. If you're running an old Windows 95 machine, we put a device on the other side to make so you can't hack it. So we make the old machine upgradable to true platform, consume the data into the secure net, and then provide a secure comms into that network platform. Now, hopefully I've managed to relay that what we primarily look at as well in IoT is the security layer. Lots of people are trying to do it themselves. We're heavily focused on the security layer and making so the edge device is more secure. That's really a lot of what we've also done. And then making so at the end, SAP or the end customer just knows that the device at the other end is secure. I'm not going to sit there spoofing it. That's quite common. Why do a lot of them fail? I'd probably say because the devices at the far end don't operate correctly. They buy the product and only 70% of them are working. They purchase the device and they don't know which ones are failing. Like, if you went and bought a device from Amazon and you installed it, would the end customer know that the product wasn't working properly? How would they actually determine, and how have you set up your platform to notify you that X device isn't phoning in every hour on the hour? How have you actually made so the customer satisfaction is higher? How have you linked the SIM card to the thing? How have you made so the platform knows what isn't happening and takes an action? It's all of that that needs to live on top of the platform, and it's a lot of writing and expertise. So it's normally linking to Salesforce to do things like that. And there needs to be a decision really at the beginning. Do you buy in or do you try and develop all of this yourself? The other thing that we see is normally there's a huge curve within most companies when they deploy the first 500. There's a lot of money, a lot of excitement. They've got 500 vehicles connected. They're all speaking into the dashboard. And then suddenly they hit the 50,000 and the network has issues. They don't really know how to manage all the data. They've got a lot of data stores. They've got 5 different versions of software deployed on product. Somebody's turned around and said, I want to add an alarm panel to it. And then you need to hire more and more people to manage who can see what bit of data and how do you organize the security of the devices at the edge. And then you need to start thinking about how are you managing the SIM card? How are you deactivating the vehicles that aren't running anymore? And all of this is always a problem when you're deploying on a platform. So the maintenance, as the devices multiplies the problems normally. If you start switching off the wrong devices, if customers aren't activating fast enough, how do you know that the SIM card is being used in the right device? All of these things, if you make one mistake, how do you rectify it and how do you fix the problem? If you've tied everything into a single entity, like Azure or something, and your customer now says, oh, I'm an Oracle customer, you now need to completely rewrite the interface. So this is then another problem because now you've got another stream of software development. So firmware, security, and functionality are key to make sure as you win more sales, the platform can adapt to what you're deploying. As Telic, we are delivering a complete end-to-end solution. Either the device can go directly to SAP HANA, you can generate the triggers at the edge device in the cloud, and then push out the relevant data. We're managing the connectivity, so the SIM cards, the LoRa, the devices living inside. Managing the device management, so the firmware updates, the photo over the air of the module, also of the device. The administration and security, who can see what data, where is it stored, which bits of data can each individual person see. For instance, would you want the installer that turns up and installs a smart home system that is now receiving every year that you're using it or there's a fault, should he be able to see what time of day you switch on or off your heating, what time of day you open and close your curtains? Now he's just the installer. He could probably give it to somebody else that goes and burgles your house. Now these are key things that you already need to think about. What part of data should each individually structure be able to see? Application integration. So of course you're trying to add software on top of it. Now we're very good at receiving the data in, getting the data from the edge into the cloud, getting it ready to push out. I've got loads of demos. I've got tracking devices in my car. I couldn't tell you if the data that's coming out of my car means I'm a good driver or a bad driver, but I can show you lots of wiggly lines. about hard braking and fast speed, but I'm not doing the analytics that shows if that's a good or bad driver. That's what the large SAPs and Oracles and our customers primarily are doing. So it's back to the point of buy in or make it yourself how the devices phone in. One other bit which I wanted to bring up was Telic's now a market leader. We've launched our SimWise campaign and launched our full SimWise product. This is a true soft SIM. So we are transmitting the SIM card to the ARM9, ARM11 core processor remotely. We are not using physical SIMs in our 2G product. We will be launching it in the M1 and the MB IoT products, which is the new 4G stuff. But we are transmitting the SIM to our 2G modules remotely. And then I can switch between one provider and another remotely. There is no SIM card. There's not like a chip SIM hiding underneath the can. It's not in the product. And then I can switch between the internal and the external. So if you still put a SIM card holder on it. Now, it adds a lot of possibilities suddenly. If you want to change from, let's say, Tele2 to Vodafone to O2, we can do it over the air. We can manage the protocol. We can manage the soft SIM within the modules, within the GSM parts. And we're doing all that through the platform again. I just thought I'd bring up some examples of some customers that we're doing this for. We seem to be doing very well in robotic lawnmowers as Telic, robotic lawnmowers and rat traps, if anybody needs any. One of them is Hans Kroner. Literally, we're installing the Telematics device in the robotic lawnmower, managing the connectivity, pushing the data to the cloud, and then pushing the data out to the Android or the Apple app or the website, and also out into their management system for repairs and maintenance of the robotic lawnmower. It will connect to your Android app and say, I'm stuck in the mud and it's raining, come and get me. It's the thing that they focused on was they didn't want to do the platform, they didn't want to do the security, they didn't want to do the SIM card management, they just wanted to make a very pretty Android Apple app because that's the only thing the customer sees. They didn't want to worry about security, over-the-air update, how do we know where it needs to connect to, managing the SIM card. It's really all of that lot where they decided to buy in. Another one, this is a full server room management system, maybe of interest to people here. That's why I selected it. It really is a Linux box that lives within the server room, or it can be an x86 box that lives in the server room. And Monet makes a box, or you can just use an x86 server with a blade. And then there's lots and lots of sensors and remote devices that pair with that box. And then the data streams directly into our platform, and then you can push it into your platform. It's one of our partners that's doing it. They're primarily focused on making the sensors at the end. They don't really worry about the box in the middle. Another one is Lidium. If you're looking at agriculture, it's another Linux box running v4 with the device-wise asset gateway. It's got edge capabilities, pulling the data from the remote sensors. So one big box then has up to 150 edge boxes, and then each edge box has sensors that live in the soil. And then we consume the data from those edge devices into the platform and then push it into the big data analytics company. If you're dealing with any of the large agricultural companies, you'll very quickly realize they all use one of the big analytics platforms. And they all have lots of different customers around the world using lots of different products. And this one, the next one, this is the same box, but then speaking to lots of different machines, lots of PLCs, lots of robots, lots of factory devices. How a customer can actually integrate and pull the data in, everything can come into our cloud, and then we can push it back out again securely to each relevant user, and then determine which bit of data comes out to which one. If you're looking at a telematics box, some of our partners where we're bringing the data in from the edge and pushing it up, like Dan Law, Zergo, Calamp, some of the big manufacturers in telematics. Hopefully you can get the general idea that we have lots of edge devices coming into one cloud and then pushing it out. Another one, this is quite a nice one. It's a telematics device with Bluetooth, GSM, 3G inside it, and then it speaks out to BLE tags to then consume in the BLE. And then we push it up to the platform. Now, this is used quite a fair bit in delivery companies like FedEx and UPS. They have a device in each of the truck, and every time they see one of their pallets or one of their palletizers or one of their very expensive boxes, it pulls the data back, pushes it to our cloud, and then into their big analytics company system. This is a cement truck manufacturer. This is quite an entertaining one. The global IT engineer inherited 5 companies, each one that had deployed a different system at each site. So you can see here they had Multitech, Systech, Cisco, and Redline routers. So the global IT manager had a nightmare because he had all these different systems. What we did was we made so one control system to manage every single platform. Then pulling in all the data and pulling it in from the cement trucks into the system. Then he could control from one area gate openers, working time, lorry logistics, and controlling the system. Last one, this is a bicycle navigation system. And if you go to some nice Hilton hotels, you may be given one of these bikes, and it shows you which restaurant you could go to and what special offers there are. So I've been told I'm pretty much up. Is there any questions? Any questions? Nope. I obviously answered all the questions too quickly. Nope. Any questions? So this is another one. Furuno. We all know the satellite navigation company out there that is for ships. We're actually receiving the data in and then securely delivering it back to the port authority. So the device is coming in, it's using satellite or GSM, pushing it into the platform, and then we're pushing it out into the system that they're using. Another lawnmower. We have another robotic lawnmower. We do like them. Exactly the same as before, but this time we wrote the Android app as well. Well, Telic didn't. We used a third party to write it for them. So we did the full turnkey solution for them. They literally wanted to bring a robotic lawnmower and provide an Android app. And we did the whole thing from the end to end. Okay. Oh.
The Telic platform, is it multi-tenanted? So you have all customers on the same platform, or is it individual instance?
So yes, it's multi-tenanted. Or you can have an individual license, you can have it on-prem, you can have it cloud, or you can have it in your server, and it's also multi-tenanted. So yes, all of above. Any other questions? See, I should have planted questions. That should have been what I should have done. Another one is fuel monitoring. So this is actually living in tanks. Monitoring the amount of fuel or oil left inside the fuel tank and then pulling it back into the platform. Now, the interesting thing about this was they've got telematics devices in the cab, and then they've also got fuel monitoring systems, and all they wanted to do was pull the two together. So it's making so they could buy an off-the-shelf telematics unit and an off-the-shelf fuel level monitoring unit for stolen fuel and pull it into one platform and worry about delivering the product to the end telematics customer or the company that's doing the fuel delivery, because they were focused on where is the fuel going and who's receiving the fuel. They didn't really worry about how they know how much fuel they're delivering to the customer. They just wanted it to appear in their sales system. So they used us to do both bits. And this is another one that we did with Tenant. It's the floor cleaning machines. Literally, we just added a USB dongle to these things, pulled the data back, and now pulling it into the platform. And they're a SAP HANA end customer. And then we're pushing the data straight into their platform. So then they can figure out where their machines are. It was about a 2-day integration exercise. And we didn't do it, our customers did it. Okay, thank you very much for attending. I shall finish there. If you've got any questions, do come by either our stand or myself. We're just over there to the left. Thank you very much.